I've tried to film this video once already, and it's a very personal and intense video, so I'm warning you now. It made me very anxious. It made me very nervous. I was very hesitant. I am very hesitant to post this, but I think it's something that needs to be talked about. For those of you who don't know me, my name is michelleines, and I'm half Filipino, half Sri Lankan. My mom is Filipino and my dad is Sri Lankan, but for my entire life I have identified as being Filipino because I have not been exposed to my Sri Lankan side, nor do I know any of my relatives who are Sri Lankan. My entire life I've been surrounded by Filipino people. So my experiences as a half Filipino person is different from other people's, because most of the Filipino people I know that are mixed, they don't care for either of their cultures and are just very westernized, so they just don't care at all for being Filipino or their other culture, or they're evenly immersed in both of their cultures. So I feel like my experiences are different. The reason why I wanted to make this video was because I recently realized that for the majority of my life I've been going through an identity crisis. And although all of the problems and situations that I'm going to be talking about in this video seem pretty trivial and minuscule to a lot of people, because it's made such an impact on my life and on the way I think, it is a very important topic to me, and I think it's a topic that people need to understand and be aware about. Overall, I'm going to be talking about the Filipino community and culture as a whole, and how a lot of Filipinos are racist. I know it's a very controversial topic. I don't want to offend anyone. These are just my experiences, and yeah, take them with a grain of salt. From a young age, I wasn't really aware of my race. When I was little, I didn't look very mixed. I think I started to look mixed when I started school. From a young age, all my friends were Filipino. It became evident that I was different than them. They pointed it out. I started to see it in myself. Everyone could just tell I was kind of different. And that's when I realized, hey, I'm not full Filipino. There's something different about me. And when I started school around, late 1990s, being mixed was not popular. If you're mixed, you're mixed with a culture that was similar. Now, when you think Filipino and you think Sri Lankan, they're completely different, completely opposite. You don't think of them together. So when I was little, growing up, having all my Filipino friends, and everyone being Filipino in my household, I became really intrigued and interested in my culture. So I think that was really important for me as a kid, because it shaped who I am right now. Now, when I was a kid, because everyone was Filipino in my house, I had no clue what they were saying half the time because they all talked Tagalog. And I feel like my family, they're pretty good with raising me as a Canadian and not just a Filipino, because they would only talk English to me and they would talk Tagalog to each other. But I felt left out. So I remember being a kid, probably around the age of 6 or 7, and asking my aunt to teach me Tagalog. Now, she would teach me the basics. She would teach me like animal names or like colors and stuff like that, really basic stuff, but it wasn't fulfilling my need and want to learn Tagalog and to immerse myself more into my culture. So I took it upon myself, and when my family would think that I'd be playing inside of my room with my dolls or something, I would have a Tagalog movie or a Tagalog TV show that we had on DVD on the TV. I'd put it on the TV and I'd just watch it over and over with the subtitles, and I would connect the English words to the Tagalog words, and eventually I learned how to understand Tagalog. I started to learn and understand Tagalog more, but my family didn't know up until maybe like a few years later, and they kind of accepted that I understood, But even then, it wasn't like it wasn't something we talked about. It was kind of just like a fact that they knew and they just overlooked it. So that's how it's been pretty much since that time. There are two things that have happened in my life that have negatively affected me and have tore down my identity. So the first one has happened more than once. It occurs at least a few times a year, and it has occurred since I was a little kid. I can remember when I was little and I would go out with my mom and we'd see a Filipino, and the first thing that they would ask my mom, "Is that your kid?" So once my mom would say, "Yes, she's my kid," the next thing that would leave their mouth is something that sends shivers down my spine. I hate this word with a burning passion. Hate it. Hate it. They would always say in a really low whisper, "Why does she look Bombay?" Or, "Is she Bombay?" Now, this word Bombay in Tagalog means someone from India, Sri Lanka, a brown person pretty much. Anyone of brown skin tone, of the brown culture. So, South Asian. It wasn't the fact that they said the word that bothered me. It was the implication and the tone that they would always use. Every single person that says this has the exact same tone, exact same implications. No matter how much someone can tell me they don't imply anything by that word, it automatically has a racist connotation to it, a negative connotation to it. No one would say that word in such a low whisper unless it was like the word Voldemort that would summon a dark lord to take over the world, you know? As a kid, it didn't click to me that it was a bad word until it kept happening, and people would just keep giving me looks of disgust and confusion, as if, why does she exist? Why does this kind of thing exist? Why is it plaguing our culture? And at that point, I was kind of like, I don't feel like I belong here anymore. I don't feel like I belong into a culture I was born into. Which as a kid is very, very scarring. Imagine being a kid and having the only thing you've ever known be taken away from you because people continuously said things that made you feel as if you were disgusting and wrong. Okay, so there's another word in Tagalog that is mestiza or mestizo, depending if you're a female or a male. And this word means half Filipino, half a different culture. Now, I'm rarely labeled as this, even though I am in that category. This word is usually with a positive connotation, and it's mainly used to idolize people. It's used to let people know that you think they're beautiful and that you wish you were like them. Every single time I'm in a room with a half white, half Filipino person, they're always labeled as mestiza or mestizo. But then when the same people label them as that and then ask me about my mix, I'm automatically just labeled as Bombay, and I'm not mestiza. And that really bothers me. Why is there a barrier? Why is there a line between us? Why is there a stigma against brown people? I don't understand. It's bothered me my entire life, and it's taken me so long. It's literally taken me almost 20 years to accept my other culture, because the culture that I am so in love with and obsessed with and tried so hard to get them to accept me doesn't accept my other half, which is very conflicting for me. The other thing that has happened in my life, which happened only once, but it was very detrimental, and especially for a teenage girl. especially. So growing up, I was already insecure about being half brown, half Filipino. In high school, my first year of high school, I met this boy. Let's name him Marco. So I met this kid named Marco, and we started talking for a few months, and I thought it was going really well. And I started to like him, so I decided to tell him one day. This boy was Filipino, full Filipino. What Marco told me in response to me telling him that I liked him will scar me for the rest of my life. No matter how much I learned to love myself and me as a whole, I will never get over what this boy said to me, and it's been years. His reply was, "I like you, but I only date full Filipino girls." Now, as like a 13, 14-year-old girl, that made me really confused. I was confused because I grew up thinking that if someone likes you for who you are, it's for your personality and not anything else. Especially if it's something I cannot change. How can you tell a teenage girl that I don't like you because of your race? It took me years to stop obsessing about this boy won't like me because I'm not full Filipino. This boy won't like me because I'm half brown. So after that happened, I became obsessed with finding acceptance from Filipino boys. As stupid as it sounds, I became obsessed. And instead of putting my anger towards the racist Filipino boy, I put it towards my dad, because I started to blame him for me being half brown. Which breaks my heart, because you should never be ashamed of your race, because it's who you are. And if people have a problem with that, then that's their problem. But it's okay, I know that now. I have definitely gotten over that aspect that I put so much emphasis on and worried so much about, but that's not to say that it doesn't still haunt me at the back of my head. Even though these things happen and they tear me down, they make me very upset, they stick with me, I still have so much pride for my culture, which I personally don't understand. I literally have become obsessed with being accepted into a culture that doesn't want me, which is horrible to think about, because it's literally saying like, please take me, I love you, take me, like I want you to accept me, and they're just pushing me away like, no, you don't belong here, you're different. I don't understand, I don't get it. I don't know. Even my own friends' parents, they could be talking Tagalog to my friend, but then when they talk to me, they'll have to translate it, no matter how many times I tell them that I understand them the first time. I even experience these things sometimes with my own family. They don't understand why I'm so obsessed with my culture. They don't understand it, because they're full Filipino. They have nothing to worry about. No one judges them. No one makes them feel left out. But me, I have to put so much time and effort and energy into trying to look more Filipino, be more Filipino, speak more Tagalog, learn more Tagalog, watch all the Filipino movies and Filipino TV shows that I can to feel like I'm more Filipino. At the end of the day, it's an internal conflict that I have with myself and with people of my own culture. I try so hard to immerse myself. I go to Filipino events. I watch every Filipino movie that comes out in theaters. I follow Filipino celebrities on like Instagram and Twitter, and like, I enjoy it. I enjoy it, and people judge me for it because I'm not full Filipino. Every time someone goes to the Philippines, like one of my family members or like a family friend, they always ask, do you want any pasalubong, which is like things they bring back for you from the Philippines. And recently I asked for a English Filipino dictionary because I want to get better at speaking Tagalog, and I have this. And when I asked my mom to ask my tita for it, she looked at me like, why? I want people to stop judging me. That's why. It just makes me feel like I'm back at square one. Like, I've tried so hard to get to where I am right now, and it just makes me feel like I'm back at square one. Okay, we're not gonna cry. No matter how hard it gets, I will always put importance on my culture. I think I have more Filipino pride than most full Filipinos my age. I like the fact that I'm putting time and energy into learning about my culture because I think it's important. This video is not to say that every Filipino out there is racist, because they're not. I know so many great Filipinos, and I love them to death. I love Filipino people. Also, I recently found out that on the new show I Heart OPM, which is like a singing show where they bring people of other cultures to sing Tagalog songs or just to sing on Tagalog on Filipino TV. Like, I love that idea. There's so many brown people on there. It makes me so happy. Before, there was no brown people on Filipino television. And that made me very upset because everyone on Filipino television would be half white, half Filipino, full Filipino, half Chinese, but there was no brown people. So that makes me really happy. I hope this video made you think more and made you think about things from my perspective. This video is just getting rambly, but what I want to get across is that be careful what you say to people. Be careful, because it can really, really, really damage them, and it'll stick with them forever. I just hope that in the future that people will be more open-minded and accepting to all cultures, because hello people, it's 2016 and everyone is practically mixed now. If you want to get a better understanding of the things that I talked about in this video, I will leave a link to a Google document that I wrote up, which is pretty long, so if you have the patience and time, I encourage you to read it if you want a better understanding of my experiences and everything I've been through. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. I want to start conversation on it. I want to know your opinions on everything I said. I want to know if you disagree, if you agree. I want to know. Hopefully my next video won't be this depressing and intense. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later.